Reid, I'm just glad you came here to tell everybody, you know, what the Grammy Foundation does, what the all the stuff, the work that the Grammy does to help our musicians, and we're partnering with these organizations like the Musicians Clinic, the Grammy people who's going to bring free dental care here to our union for people who can't afford it. We've invited him to come up tonight and speak, so would you all welcome Reid Wick.
Hi everybody, thank you Deke and Kim and Cindy for having for asking me to come speak. Am I in the right spot, Frank?
Yeah.
Alright. As Deke mentioned, I am a local musician and been here my whole life, except for a few months after Katrina when all of us had to be somewhere else. But that also was a transition period for me. I worked at Loyola College of Music for a long time and then transitioned into working for the Grammy organization. And those first couple of years was with the Music Cares Foundation. So what Deke was alluding to was the Music Cares had started the Music Cares Hurricane Relief Fund in the immediate few days after Katrina, and we were able to assist about 4,000 musicians from the New Orleans area with checks and debit cards and things like that to help people pay the bills where they were, move back home. Eventually we had an instrument replacement program that helped replace instruments for over 2,000 musicians for a year. So it's a very important part of the work that our organization does, so I just was starting off with that because you mentioned it. But in addition, the Music Cares and the union partners, in fact, what is it, July 16th? We're having our next dental clinic here. Is that right, July 16th? And so this is probably the sixth one? Get the sixth one now, right?
You're about,
Yeah, so luckily that's a proactive kind of thing that Music Cares does. In addition, we also do, we have grant programs for people who might break their hand and can't play music for a month or two, and we can help with rent and car notes and things like that. Also, we have an addiction recovery service, so people who are fighting addiction, we help pay for rehab and things like that. We also have, for those who are post-rehab, we have a local group here in New Orleans that meets every Monday that helps. It's like a musician's AA kind of thing, where if you are in recovery, it helps you kind of be with people who are in the same boat as you, and it's been a really cool thing. So if you have interest in some of those things, you can always contact me or Kim or Cindy or whatever can reach me, and I can put you in touch with appropriate people. After the 2 years of working for Music Cares, I then transitioned into working directly for our parent organization, which is the Recording Academy, or our official name is the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. They used to refer to it as NARAS, but unless you knew what it was, nobody knew what NARAS was. So some people may have heard NARAS. We shortened it officially to the Recording Academy recently, but our official name still is the longer thing. Our organization is best known for the Grammy Awards, which happens every year. But we are a 24/7 member services organization for professionals in the music industry. One of the things that we really pride ourselves on is doing professional development workshops and unique networking opportunities. And we have several members here, people that have been members, and so they've come to a variety of our events and stuff. And those events take all kinds of shapes and forms. Sometimes they're standalone events that we do on our own. Sometimes they're in conjunction with a conference. So for instance, during the Sync Up conference that happens during Jazz Fest that the Jazz and Heritage Foundation puts on, we help sponsor that. I help put the panels together with Scott Ages, bring in panelists and things like that. Sometimes it's little standalone events. Just on May 1st, we did a really cool event just across the street at Misha's new studio at Esplanade Studios, where we brought in a Grammy-winning engineer, and he talked about, he does a really great presentation called Lost in Translation, which was all about the differences in sound quality and stuff like that. And it's great for musicians and engineers and producers to be aware of how people mess with your music once it leaves the studio. And I'm talking the people I'm talking about are iTunes and Spotify and all those different services, because they really manipulate it in ways that when you hear the difference between what it should sound like in the studio and what it does sound like once it gets to the end user, it makes a big difference. And there's a lot of psychological things that go on in that as well. So that was a really cool presentation. In fact, on our membership website, which is Grammy365.com, we even have those kinds of presentations or videotapes where our members can watch them if they're not able to attend in person, because many of our members are out gigging, which is a good thing. We also have, for membership, we have a member discount program on a variety of things. Some of the things sort of overlap with what the union does, like car rentals and hotel chain discounts. We also have various CD duplication companies that offer discounts to our members who are getting their CDs produced. Many music conferences and museums and music festivals all over the country offer discounts to members. So for instance, Essence Fest in a couple of weeks is offers our members discounts. You get like a 15% discount to the Essence Fest tickets by using your Recording Academy membership. So there's all kind of financial benefits as well. One of the bigger benefits is just being able to come to our events. You know, for the most part, they're always free for our members. We do some events that are open to the public as recruiting opportunities for, you know, music community people that aren't members to come in and see what we do. But for the most part, our events are always open to our members. And we do events all over the country. We have 12 chapters around the country. 3 of them are very city-centric in the 3 big music cities, if you will, Nashville, New York, and LA. But the rest of the 9 chapters are all regional in nature. And so Louisiana is served by a chapter that's based in Memphis that covers a 5-state region: Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri, and West Tennessee. And so we do events all, you know, throughout that region throughout the year. I just mentioned our membership website. We have a social networking website that's just for our members. There is a public-facing side that talks about, you know, how to become a member and some of the benefits and what some of the events are. But there's also, once you're a member, you can then get past the password protection, and you can set up your own profile like you would on Facebook or MySpace or something like that, where you can upload your music and your videos and photographs and your press and all that kind of stuff. And you can connect with other Recording Academy members around the country. And, you know, it's a great networking tool. There's an opportunity section where, say, you know, Joe Blow band's going on tour and they need a bass player or they need a road manager. You know, there's a way for you to connect with people around the country who are pros in the industry. And the cool thing about that website is, compared to a Facebook or anything else, is that only members are on that site. So you know you're getting somebody who's legit. Well, it's sort of a benefit, but it's also a privilege of membership, is to participate in the Grammy Awards process. The way that works essentially is it's our members and record labels who register with the Academy as a registered record label. So it's the labels and our members who submit recordings for consideration in the Grammy Awards. And that process is coming up soon. For record labels, it starts in just like 2 weeks, and for our members, it's in the month of August. So it's for our members who have a valid membership as of July 31st can then participate in the entry process starting, I want to say it's August 3rd, I might be wrong. I don't have that date committed to memory, I'm sorry. But it's essentially most of the month of August that you can enter recordings. And then if you do qualify as a voting member, you can participate in the voting process of the Grammy Awards. So it is our members who vote on the Grammy Awards. It's a true peer award in the sense that you have to qualify as a voting member. And the way you qualify is by having a certain amount of recording credits yourself, as opposed to American Idol or the American Music Awards or all these other awards that are out there where the general public can vote. With the Grammys, you have to be a voting member of the Academy in order to participate in that voting process. And essentially, just to give you a basic of what the requirement is to achieve voting status, is that you need to have pretty much a minimum of 12 tracks that have been released commercially, meaning that they're available for sale in commercial entities like an iTunes, on CD Baby, Amazon, or in record stores and things like that. And that can be 12 tracks on one album, that can be 12 tracks over 10 albums, you know, depending on how it's worked up. The minimum is at least one of those tracks has to be released within the last 5 years, and that's a fairly new thing that our trustees added a couple of years ago. That way we keep people who are active in the industry coming into our membership. We do have over 25,000 members across the country. We have about 12,500 or so that are voting members. We also started a new membership category about 6 years ago called the Grammy University Network. And it is for college students who have an interest in the music industry. And so at several universities and colleges here locally, we have students that are members of the Academy, and they get to join at a reduced rate. The rate for a regular member is $100 a year to be a member. The rate for the students has been $25 a year, but as of July 1st, it's going to change, and it's going to be $50 for your entire college career, plus 2 years after you graduate. That way, college students, they know, the trustees decide that, they know that oftentimes it takes a year or two for the students to get settled into a job or get into their music career, so they were going to allow them that they pay $50 one time and they get to stay essentially for 6 years. And that will include if they go to grad school, that'll be a couple of years of grad school added in too. So the other membership category that we have is for associate members, and those are for people who aren't part of the creative process of making recordings. So the voting members are people who are, you know, the songwriters, producers, engineers, the artists that perform on them. They could be the people who, you know, do the album artwork, write the liner notes, create the music videos. Those kinds of, the people who are part of the creative process can be voting members. The people who are in the industry but aren't part of the creative process, you know, the entertainment attorneys, the, I mean, you name any other function, radio people, record label people, publicists, anybody else, music educators, people who aren't part of the creative process then can qualify as an associate member. Associate members can enter recordings in, but they can't participate in the voting process. So, I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Am I over my time yet?
Oh, okay.